Now, 11 months after the federal government dissolved the governing councils of the nation's federal universities, there's been no sign of any move to reconstitute them. Those councils were dissolved in June last year by President Bola Tinubu, with the power of supervision over the institutions transferred to the Federal Ministry of Education and the National Universities Commission. The vacuum created by the absence of the governing councils is reported to be generating friction in some of the universities, especially over appointment of vice-chancellors, as well as the recruitment of principal officials and the promotion of staff. Dayo, Sobowale, Arise News analyst, joins us now to discuss this matter. Good afternoon, Mr. Sobowale. Great to have you, as always. Of course. Now, some critics argue that this delay undermines the autonomy and accountability mechanisms of these institutions. How would you assess the validity of these claims?
Well, the universities are headless. That's an anomaly. So their functionality is not there. It is not a good situation. And long before this, even when the boards were dissolved and the universities were granted autonomy, ASU has raised doubt about the dissolution of the boards then and the so-called autonomy. And this was done in June. It's almost a year. June is next month. So government has not lived up to its responsibility in this regard. It is clear. Delegating supervision to the Ministry of Education and National Universities Commission should be the temporary measure, but it's almost a year-long issue now. It's an anomaly. And you see, some people have said that the recommendations are there and they are on the president's table. But of course, you know the Nigerian scenery, there will have been lobbying upon lobbying. Maybe they have been amending the list almost every day. But that should not be our own business. We are interested in the functionality of the university system to achieve the set goals and objectives. So let's leave it at that for now.
Okay, now let's talk about the Minister of Education, or the Ministry of Education, rather, overseeing, or rather inheriting this role as the overseer of university affairs for the past 11 months, with some universities now crying foul that, well, they've started advertising for the post of Vice-Chancellor for certain institutions. Now, we already know that the post of Vice-Chancellor comes with a lot of controversy as to how people gain these positions. Lobbying and all manner of things are said to happen behind the scenes for people to rise to this position. What does this say, and how does this impact the next set of governing councils, in your opinion? Do you think that the Ministry of Education will have more of a hand in the running of universities?
Well, it has had a lot of hand in the last 11 months. And you see, I want to call selection of councillors controversial. The rules are there. They are to be done by the governing council, and there's no governing council. And it's like the board of a corporate body. There is no chairman, but you have managing director. The managing director is the vice-chancellor in the universities. So what ASU and other monitoring institutions in the university industry, what they are saying is that if the vice-chancellors make appointments now, sign contracts now, discipline some people now, which are their functions, they will be challenged in court as illegal, because those should be done by the University Governing Council, and the chairman is there. So that is the issue. And you see, on a personal note, you see, there is nobody who does not love power. The Federal Ministry of Education is in charge, National University. Maybe they are enjoying their time in running the universities. But it is an anomaly, like I said. So they should revert to the normal situation. And the ball is in the court of the Ministry of, the court of government to do something. It's taking too long. And if they take too long, the fiercer will be the lobbying for these positions. And in an era when university vice chancellors are now returning officers, you never know. Maybe election is...
It's a very valid...
It's infiltrating into certain things concerning the return of the governing council of the universities, which is the legitimate thing. So the ball is in the court of government to do something. And for the Ministry of Education to even issue a statement to let us know what is happening. Unless, of course, they are enjoying their period of being in power, which, as you have said, is illegal. But let's leave it at that for now.
Great. Now, Mr. Sobowale, in the absence of governing councils, what alternative mechanisms or interim structures should be implemented in order to, maintain effective oversight and governance within these federal universities?
The structure is there. In the absence of the chairman, the vice chancellor is the chief executive. And they are doing it. But you see, people are saying that they are not saying it is illegitimate. That's the arrangement. But they are saying that things should be done properly. I'm sure if they take decisions, and if the governing council comes in, they will approve the decisions. And if there are petitions, they will examine those that are being queried. So it is not as if the functionality is impaired, but it is on an acting basis. And people are trying to cast aspersion on its legitimacy, which is a normal development. So government should do something hurriedly to arrest the situation.
And let's talk about this issue of legitimacy. And I mean, I still go back to the issue of vice chancellors because it's a really big conversation right now. You have regions that are now clamoring. It's not a new development, but you have regions that are saying that the vice chancellor of, the local university should be from that state or should be from that area. And all of these other issues. Do you think that it's maybe time for us to review the manner in which the governing councils are selected and the VCs are selected, especially given the point that you made earlier that these people are now a very important part of our electoral system?
Okay, you must separate proprietorship or ownership of universities now. We have more private-owned universities in Nigeria now, about 80 or so. We have federal universities, 40-something, state-owned universities, yes. You see, if I'm governor of a state, and we have universities, I put the indigenous of my state there. That's normal. But it is with the federal one that you have federal character. You get me now? That has to be in place because it's part of our constitution. The private ones, who pays the papa, dictates the tune.
Their business. So
it's left to the whims and caprices of whoever the owner or proprietor is. So straightforward to me. It must reflect, the appointments must reflect what, our ecological and ethnic
Mr. Sobowale, what does ethnicity have to do with academia?
A lot. If the university, you have let me use Onabanjo University. You get to, it's located in Ogun State. Who will be the... Okay, that's not even a good example because you have so many professors from Ogun State. You don't need to look outside. You get me? Appointment of a vice chancellor is not a meritocracy. It's a political appointment. Better get that. You get me? Because the Senate, the professors gather around in the Senate. The professors and elect the VC. They are masters, gurus in their various disciplines. But that is their own university politics. They elect one of them. As well. Of course, if somebody not from the state is politically adept enough to get the job, he will get it. But their own assembly is the Senate. So it depends on the composition of the Senate. So meritocracy has its limit in some instances. The merit is in the discipline. You're a guru in your own field, physics, history, whatever. Then you all come together. And you can imagine when these heads get together and debate, it's going to be a furious debate.
Mr. Sobowale, as we round
Invariably, they elect one of them as VC.
So it's not the best man or woman.
It's their own politics.
Well, that might be have been the ideal situation, but this is the reality.
Yeah.
So, Mr. Sobowale, when it comes to this delay, what can we prevent in 30 seconds? How can we ensure that, the kind of measures that should be taken in order to prevent the kind of delay we've seen in this case?
It's action. Luckily, the president is back. No, you are lamenting his absence.
I knew you were bring it up.
Luckily, he's back. The box stops on his table.
There's so many things on his table right
if
now.
the list is in front of him, he should sign it. That's all. Action
What
is
if
what
it's not
we
in
need.
front of him right now?
Well, they're saying
Action.
Action, timely action.
Yes. What they say is the list is there, and I want to believe that.
I hope so too.
Yeah.
All right, Mr. Sobowale, unfortunately our time is up.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for this conversation.